everyone, I'm Michelle and this is A Common Life. On my channel I share about everything from homeschool to motherhood and everything in between. This video is all about homeschool. It's about letting go of your expectations because homeschool is not public school. I'm just going to share a few little tips and inspiration for you guys on how to kind of let go of those expectations. I know that when I started homeschooling, I came from being a private school teacher. I have an education degree, and so I taught basically in a private school or, public school. They're the same type of thing. And I just had these expectations of the way my homeschool was going to look. I kind of just assumed it was going to kind of be the same type of thing. But homeschool isn't public school or private school. It's just not, and it doesn't have to mimic what public or private school look like. For me, it took a while to actually get used to this idea that nothing has to be exactly the same as public school. We don't have to have this like really rigid schedule and do workbooks and tests and quizzes and all these kind of things like this, because when you're homeschooling, it's just a completely different atmosphere and you are literally side by side with your children. And so you know how they're doing and you know what they need from you and you're able to just help them in that moment, because you're not a teacher who has 30 other children who are all trying to do different work at different levels or the same work at different levels. And that's a lot harder and it's a lot more, there's a lot more area for children to kind of slip through the cracks and not really fully comprehend something. I know that for me, for whatever reason, when I was in the 4th grade, I remember we learned about the states and like the state capitals, and I memorized them wrong. And for years and years and years, I had an idea of where Illinois was, which was not the right place on the map. And I think it was like in high school when I finally realized like Illinois is not above Ohio. It is a little bit further over. And so anyway, I learned it wrong. And when you're in public school, that just happens because it's really hard for the teacher to make sure that every single child has mastered every single subject. I mean, that's basically impossible. And so as a homeschool mom, you are able to do that. You are working one-on-one with your child and you can help them master every single subject. Now, to add to that, every moment of your life is a homeschool moment. I love hashtagging things on Instagram, #homeschool_life, because you are always learning. And as you are spending your days with your kids, whether it's things you do at home like making breakfast or doing laundry or cleaning or taking out the dog or anything like that that is teaching them responsibility, that's part of homeschool life. If you are going to the store, if you are going on a field trip to an art museum or a thing like that, and even if it's not necessarily a field trip, because we love doing stuff like that, and we don't necessarily count it as a field trip, we do it on the weekend, but it's homeschool. That is part of homeschool. That is all about learning. And so I know for me, I always put homeschool in a box, and I was like, well, what we do at our homeschool table from 8:30 to 3, that's homeschool. But it doesn't have to be like that. And honestly, your homeschool schedule doesn't have to be like that. And that is something new that I've started this year, which we're in our 6th year now, and it took me 5 years to kind of figure this out. You don't have to do homeschool from 8:30 to 3:30 every day like a public school. Sometimes we do not even start our homeschool in the afternoon. And guess what? We're able to get it all done. It isn't a big deal at all. We're able to get all of our work done. And as I've said in several of my other videos, sometimes if you have an appointment or a field trip or something like that, even if you're not able to get all of your work done that day, you just make it up the next day and you always catch up. You don't fall behind because there's so much time. You are not waiting in lines, making bathroom trips, doing different types of things where in a public school or private school, it's not wasted time because it's time that, they have to do these things. So it's just part of how the day works. But at home, you're not doing those things. So all of those moments are not being wasted or used up. And you're able to use those moments for teaching and learning. To go along with that, you don't have to sit at the table or a desk. You can sit on your couch. Some kids like to sit on the floor. They could do their work in their room. I know a lot of people who actually set up desks in their kids' bedrooms and let the older kids actually sit there and do their homeschool work in their bedroom. And as your kids get older, they are more self-motivated and they're actually able to do things like that. They won't get as easily distracted. And you can say, do these assignments, give them a list or an assignment book, and they can actually just go ahead and get it done. And I know that our children sometimes like to do their work outside. We'll do it in the backyard. Just the other day, they were doing their schoolwork out by the driveway and the dog was kind of playing out there and they were sitting out there with the dog and they were getting their homework, their homeschool work done. And so you don't need to feel like you're confined to a certain place to homeschool. There are a lot of other people who will homeschool out of the home. They will actually take their books and they will go to a park or they will go to the library or other places like that and get their homeschool work done. I haven't tried that yet and I don't know if I will because I do have 5 kids and that feels a little overwhelming to me personally, but if you're able to do it, if you have a smaller family or just children who maybe are not so energetic as mine, you'll probably be able to get that done maybe at a park or a library or some other place. And that would be really fun. Another thing to consider is the fact that in public or private school, your children have specials, especially in elementary school and middle school, and even in high school, like art, music, gym, library, things like that. And all of us probably do those within our homeschool, but it may not fit in that homeschool day time. Like my children, we do not do a PE class, but they all play sports. They do swimming, they play soccer, they play basketball, then they play soccer again, they play basketball, and then we're back around to swimming again. So we literally do sports all year long. I have a couple of kids who are interested in running track, so we'll probably do that. In the past, my daughter has done gymnastics and dancing. Now she does soccer and swimming. And so we are always keeping busy and being physically active. And so we don't necessarily do a PE class, but they're doing PE. And my kids are very active. I don't know if your kids are like mine, but mine are always out there like riding bikes, running around, playing basketball in the driveway. They're busy people. And so they're not just confined to a desk all day and just, having to sit there. They're able to get up and move around. We always, every single homeschool day, take an hour for lunch and recess. So they usually take maybe like 20 minutes to eat their lunch, and then they get the next period of time to just play. Sometimes they play inside, sometimes they play outside. Sometimes I force them to play outside and tell them they have to go ride their bikes or jump on the trampoline or swing on the swings or something like that, just to kind of keep them busy. And then also with art, you can just incorporate that into your homeschool day. For us, we don't necessarily do a lot of art in our homeschool, but they do art all the time. We do crafts, we do painting. It's just part of our life, hashtag homeschool life again, but it's just part of our life. It's just what we do. We've always done that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a lesson or a unit. It can just be something that you do. Like, here's some paint and paper, like go to town, have fun, and that's art. And for us, we do music lessons. So we don't necessarily have a music class once or twice a week or however many times a week it is in school. And we are able to do piano lessons and ukulele lessons, and then they practice on their own time. And so that's really great. They're getting their music in. And then my older kids, my older three actually sing in our church choir. So they go to rehearsals on Wednesday nights and then they sing on Sundays. And so they're able to get all of these educational activities within their week, but they're not set inside of our homeschool day. But for me, I do consider that homeschool. They're learning music. They're actually learning Latin within their choir, which is awesome. And so that's kind of just a way to shift your mindset that you don't have to do all of these things within your homeschool day. You can do them at any time. Maybe you just like to sing songs with your children or play musical instruments. That's homeschool. Even if you're not doing it, in those homeschool hours, it's still part of homeschool. And like I said earlier, cooking and cleaning and all those types of things, I consider those homeschool. I honestly feel sad that so many children are gone from like 7 to 3 or 4. And so if they have a mom who is a stay-at-home mom, a lot of times she just kind of gets all that stuff done and they don't have to do those responsibilities. I feel that my children are blessed to actually be given these extra responsibilities because it is teaching them how to be competent adults. And they don't do it begrudgingly. They do it because they know that they're a part of this family and we all work together. And that's what community is all about. Each family is kind of its own little community and we all need to work together to get these things done. And if we are teaching our kids how to cook and how to clean, how to do their laundry and things like that, that means when they go off to college or move out of the house, they're going to know what to do. They're not going to be lost. And so I don't know. I think that's really important to equip your children in that way. And I'm not making a judgment call on parents who send their kids to school because there are lots of parents who send their kids to school and they have incredibly responsible children who are able to do all of these things. I just have had some recent conversations with people that live in my neighborhood and it just isn't the case. One lady was telling me how her son, who is in middle school, I think he might be in 8th grade, how he can't make a sandwich. And every child by the time they're 13 should be able to make a sandwich. So, I mean, if you haven't ever thought about it before, maybe you do just kind of naturally do the things in the kitchen because you enjoy it. Have your kids make a sandwich, even little kids. Like my 6-year-old can make a sandwich. And that's just because I let them do it because they want to and they enjoy learning new things. So I don't know, that's just a little bit from me on my soapbox a little bit here, but I think it's important to teach our kids these things. I think it is just so important for us to equip them, and that is part of our homeschool life. Another adaptation that I make within our own homeschool is reading times. For my older children, the two of them, they really just don't go to sleep early anymore. They usually stay up till 10 maybe. They're 10 and 12 years old, and they're they just don't go to sleep as early anymore. And so I allow them to save their assigned readings for the end of the day, and they'll just do their assigned readings in bed. And so that is definitely part of our homeschool day, but it's happening at like 9 o'clock at night every night. But that's fine. I mean, that works for us, and that means that during the day, during the daylight hours when it's nice out, they can go ahead and just play outside. They don't have to actually do their reading during the homeschool day. So I really prefer doing that as well. Another thing to consider is a program like ABC Mouse that is good for younger children because it's a fun game for them, but it's school. It is teaching them how to read, and it's teaching them their letters and their colors and all different kinds of things like that. And it doesn't look like something that is like a formal homeschool thing, but I make it that for my kids. I am requiring them to do ABC Mouse because I know that it's teaching them so many things and it's fun, and they kind of feel like they're playing a game, which is a little bit of a cheat there, but it works, and so I do it. I hope this video helped you a little bit just to kind of get out of the box of what homeschool should be and know that homeschool can be anything that you want it to be. As long as you are following the laws within your state and meeting all of those requirements and your kids are learning and growing, do homeschool however you want. Make it work for your family. You know, get out of that box and make it something that everyone can enjoy and something that doesn't hold you down. I feel like for so many years I felt like I was held down by homeschool, and I wasn't really living life to the fullest. And we're really trying these days to kind of do things that are more interesting for the kids and give them lots more breaks and lots more time to be kids and have fun, because they're only going to be kids for so long and they're growing up so fast. I can't believe my son just turned 12. I mean, he's almost a teenager, and as he gets older, he's going to have more and more work to do. And so these are the days that we should let them be kids, let them have fun, and kind of work our schedule around it. We love doing park dates with our friends, and so we will kind of get all of our school done earlier in the day. That way we can go to the park. Sometimes we'll go to the park in the morning and then do our school in the afternoon, and that works perfectly. We don't have to be confined to any type of schedule. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys have a wonderful homeschool year.